One of the most exciting things about the next stage of Warhammer 40,000 is what's going to happen next with the Primarchs. And in today's video, I want to focus that on Lion L. Johnson, because where we left off with the Lion, with the Dark Angels and the Risen, is giving me so much to talk about. There's so many questions I have about what path are they going to take? What is the Dark Angels going to do? What is Azrael going to do? What is the Lion going to do? So let's jump in, and of course, let's get waffling. So I think it's best to start off where we ended the whole story with the Lion in the Arcs of Omen book. He defeated Angron, which was amazing. He caved his head in with his glorious Emperor's shield, and the Risen themselves and Lion went back to the Rock. The Rock, the ship, the Dark Angels fleet that was sent and it battled with Vashtor, literally left the system. And we had this like cliffhanger ending now. It's like, well, what's the Lion got to do? He's literally gone back to his sons. They know now the Lion has returned to the Dark Angel chapter. And there was also one other big thing that happened, is that one of the Risen actually came in contact with Azrael. If I'm not mistaken, it was the Risen called Bors, who's an absolute badass. While they were fighting on like the so-called Caliban Reborn planet against Vashtor and Abaddon's forces, Bor, one of these Risen, literally came to Azrael, put his hand on his shoulder and was like, we need to fall back, the Lion has given us the orders. And Azrael was like absolutely disgusted just looking at this so-called, Risen, AK / Fallen, who has been following the Lion, aiding the Lion around. So that opens up another layer of questions now, is like, how are the Dark Angels going to actually take the Lion actually forgiving Dark Angels that they see as the Fallen? Because the whole backstory of the Risen, the Fallen, is that when Caliban fell, the normal Marines on Caliban, they weren't corrupted. It was the hierarchy who was corrupted. It was Luther and his council that was corrupted. The normal Marines who were guarding, the bases, who were just manning the defenses, they didn't know anything about the corruption of Luther. So when the Lion came back to Caliban and the firing began, they literally thought that the Lion had betrayed the Imperium. The whole warp storm happened. They got slung through space and time, and all of a sudden they're being hunted by, as they like to call them, their little brothers as being heretics. Now, my personal fan theory, my personal hope for this is that Azrael, the Lion, the Risen, they all come back together once again, and something bigger happens with the Dark Angels. One of the big things actually about being a Primarch is just how much you can get people to side with you. The Lion saw this in his book. People just saw the Lion and they were putting their weapons down. They were literally just, chanting his name. He was the Lion. He's a son of the Emperor. To hold that rank, to hold that title, literally means people will follow you anyway. It's kind of like the life of Brian. I'm not the Messiah. He is the Messiah. The Messiah would say that. That's what it's like being a Primarch. So I think he could have that effect on Azrael and the Dark Angels as well, where they see the Lion returned and they know that this is their father, and the decisions he's making, of course, are the right decisions because it's the Lion, and the Lion cannot be wrong. It's their gene father. So I think that Azrael and the rest of them will actually follow suit and maybe forgive the Risen and accept them into their ranks. One other thing as well, and again, this is more tabletop side. I'm not saying this applies to the lore side of things, but if you look at the Dark Angel indexes, there's no more interrogator chaplains a part of their armor. Now, is this a hint to the future of what potentially could happen to the Dark Angels? Because if you don't have interrogator chaplains, that means you're not going out and interrogating fallen, aka maybe Risen Marines, right? So maybe the Lion has already got rid of that rank, saying like, I'll be the one who's the judge. I'm not having anyone else acting on me. I will be the one that does the actions. I will be the one that seeks out my sons, and I'll be the one who gives judgment upon them, because he already did that in the Lion book as well. If he came across a son, and also should I say, he stated it, if he comes across a son which truly has given himself over to the powers of chaos, he will be the one that wields a sword and kills that son. He is the judge, jury, and executioner. Now, if everything happens as I want it to happen, I'm sure we're going to have different stories coming from Games Workshop, but let's just say that the Dark Angels and the Lion start working together, the Risen, of course, start working with the Dark Angels and the Lion. What does that mean now for the story going forward? Well, we know we've got this big influx of Tyranids on the western fringe. I'm sure the Lion will get involved there somehow. I'm sure he'll turn up, do things. Of course, he's still yet to meet Guilliman. That's going to be an emotional meeting. That is probably something I want to see more than anything happen, is the meeting between Guilliman and the Lion. I can't wait for Games Workshop's next book that actually details that. I know we're having the, what's it called, the Dawn of Fire series, but there's no mention of the Lion or Guilliman or anything like that so far in those books. So hopefully there's another book, just like we got with the Lion book, that will involve more Guilliman and Lion subplots. But put that aside for 1 second. Yes, the Tyranids are there, but I still think the threat of chaos is the Lion's main goal. It's his main quest, let's say, because he is this questing knight now. That's his purpose. He's literally out there to defend the Imperium, to defend humanity, and destroy anything that seeks to do it harm. And I think the biggest thing to do it harm at this moment in time is Abaddon and is Vashtor. Don't forget, they disappeared into the webway. Maybe he's got to go into the webway. How cool would that be to see the Lion go into the webway? You could really spice the story then. You could maybe start hearing rumors about another Primarch that got lost in the webway, right? Jagatai Khan. How amazing would it be that the Lion finds Jagatai Khan in the webway? There's like all these amazing offshoots of stories you can do with the Lion's return now and what he can do, because Guilliman returned to run the Imperium. That is Guilliman's purpose. He is there. He is the new foundation block, making sure the Indomitus Crusades go off, managing it all, getting the aid to the galaxy, where the Lion is literally the sword. He's there just to get the job done. Guilliman's running the show. He's there to make sure it goes through smoothly. So this is where you can now start having these Primarch interactions with some of the major story elements. Maybe you can have the Lion meet the Silent King, because Guilliman meeting the Silent King, you know, it's kind of like that, because Guilliman, like I said, he's the one running the Imperium. They can't risk him from dying, where they can kind of risk the Lion dying, even though they will never kill him off because he's just returned. But, you know, it sets up that type of story where it puts him on the forefront of battles now and actually meeting different races, different characters from those races, and it would all make sense. Guilliman is literally surrounded by like bodyguards upon bodyguards, custodians, everything like that. The Lion hasn't got that. The Lion just got him and his chosen Risen at this time. So, you know, again, there's a lot of elements where we can go forward with the Lion, and it really does excite me. Now, one more thing before I disappear into the phalanx. I want to talk about a subplot which I've mentioned so many times before, and this is like, well, I like to call it the Secret War, but, you know, maybe Marvel will copyright strike me. And I personally think the Inquisition is taking notice of these Primarchs coming back, and they see this as a problem. The Inquisition is already doing things against Guilliman in secret. It's killing Guilliman's historiators. So Guilliman brought back the historiators, just like what we had during the Great Crusade, to try and find all the lost knowledge for the past 10,000 years, what the Imperium's been doing, what's actually happened. Of course, the Inquisition don't want that to be known, because they've been doing a lot of naughty stuff, let's say. So they've been actively fighting like a little war against Guilliman without Guilliman's knowledge. And with another Primarch coming back, the Lion, and people seeing the Sons of the Emperor return, this is a problem for the Inquisition, because that takes away power. Power is what the Inquisition wield more than anything. The fear of power, the power of locking you up and throwing away the key, right? If you have a Primarch saying, no, you won't do that, your power has been taken away. People will stop fearing you. So I personally think the Inquisition in secret is going to start waging like a little shadow war, a secret war against the Primarchs, maybe to actually try and kill the Primarchs, to make it look like maybe a Xenos did it, maybe Chaos did it, maybe, you know, something like that, to get rid of them so they can grab on and keep that power. They don't care if it's a son of the Emperor. They just want their power. They think they're doing this for the best of humanity. They'll know about what the Primarchs have done, right? In the past, they'll know about the Horus Heresy and stuff like that. You can't really trust a Primarch. They can be corrupted. We cannot be corrupted. We are the faithful of the Emperor. Well, that's what the purists say. And we all know what happens to a purist Inquisitor. There's a lot of books out there if you want to go read it. I suggest Eisenhorn. That is the best Inquisitor series. Right, enough waffling for me as always. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. If you've got any thoughts, feedback, anything like that, how would you like the Lion to go forward with his story? How would you like the Risen, the Dark Angels to start interacting with each other? Do you want that? Do you want like the War of Angels, a civil war within the Dark Angels? I can't see that happening, right? I know a lot of people say that, well, it's going to be a war with the Dark Angel. No, please, we're done with civil wars. We are done with there's been so many goddamn civil wars in the Imperium. Please, I just don't have the time and effort for another one. Let's just go forward and let's do what we do best. Purge Xenos and kill the heretic. See ya. Have a great day. And bye-bye.